This is Inside the Drill, the program where we bring you stories about development in Gombe State. I bid you welcome as we go on the journey to show you some of the efforts of Gombe State government in transforming this northeast state into a true drill in the savannah. My name is Lanre Adeyemi. Education, they say, is the bedrock, the foundation upon which every meaningful human development lies. Perhaps this is the reason Gombe State Governor, upon assumption of office in 2011, made education his first, second, and third priority. 7.5 years down the line, he seems to fulfill this promise by establishing 5 tertiary institutions in the state. That will be our focus on this episode of Inside the Drill, but we'll bring you all this and more after we review some of the major events during the past week. Enjoy the show. Early in the week, Gombe State government made it clear that it is ready to pay the proposed 30,000 naira minimum wage. The Commissioner for Finance, Hassan Mohamadu, stated this during a public breakdown of the state's 2019 budget. Being one of the smallest states in Nigeria, with the second lowest federal allocation, many would expect Gombe to struggle during this national economic slowdown. He explains that Gombe is on solid fiscal standing based on prudent management of resources and adequate planning. He also describes the debt to revenue profile of Gombe State as one of the best in Nigeria.
The Gombe State debt is totally sustainable. It's sustainable. It has been effectively managed, and it's on a very good trajectory. So no doubt as to the fact that Gombe doesn't have a debt problem, as it were. And you heard me talk about Gombe Revenue Optimization Company Limited, which is a new initiative of the Dankombo administration, which is intended at maximizing the utilization of the revenue generating assets of Gombe State.
Newsmen and members of the civil society, however, had questions. They are concerned over uncompleted projects and the numerous challenges in the health sector.
We have hotels, but the returns from those hotels, they are so paltry that you really don't feel encouraged. And the reason is simply because we subjected them to the bureaucracies of government in the way that they are managed, even in the way they are concessioned. So we are concerned about this. We felt that if it's your own establishment, you wouldn't run it the way that we are running it. So for that reason, we decided to do this company, which is called the Revenue Optimization Company. And we brought all the people concerned to be at the board, only at the board. We are not employing people to work for that company. And that is why we made provision for this corporate bond in the internal loans, 8.2 billion. The intention really is to perfect and finalize, finish all of these projects before Dankombo goes so that they get commissioned. So that is about the uncompleted projects. I'm giving you every assurance that Governor Dankombo is going to finish most of the key projects that he has started.
Gombe State has a proposed budget of 118 billion naira for the 2019 fiscal year. From the explanations given by the managers of the state's resources, residents can be confident of a positive impact of governance on their lives. Meanwhile, there was a lot of activities in the state legislature. The minority leader of Gombe State House of Assembly decamped from the All Progressive Congress (APC) to the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Mai Gari Jigudo announced his defection during the sitting of the House on Tuesday. He is accusing his former party of injustice.
Lack of internal democracy, nepotism, discrimination, particularly to those members that strive not to change the leadership of minority party, not adherence to the manifestos and constitution of the party in the conduct of its affairs. Mr. Speaker, sir, in view of all these mentioned above, I hereby resolve to defect from all Progressive Congress Party APC to People's Democratic Party PDP. Thank you. So you are welcome on board, and let me, on behalf of all the honorable members and indeed the leadership of the party in the state, assure you that from today you are equal with all the members of the family of PDP, and we will give you equal treatment.
Welcome our brother Honorable Mai Gari Jigudo from the All Progressive Congress to the largest party in Africa. PDP is the only party that has a very good plan for Nigerians, and Nigerians also will witness this. In the 16 years of administration of PDP has provided all the social amenities for the benefit of the entire populace of Nigerians.
Few months ago, two members of the State Assembly decamped from the APC to the PDP, which already had majority in the state legislature. Also, the Gombe State House of Assembly approved the appointment of 6 nominees to the State Executive Council. This follows a letter to the Assembly by the State Governor, Ibrahim Dankwambo, requesting for confirmation of the nominees. The new commissioners are expected to fill vacancies created after the resignation of some former members of the State Executive Council to contest for elective offices.
The unionist of the union and a great mobilizer of women and youth, and at the same time I attended so many training workshops on conflict resolution and news reporting and writing skills, and then I participated at the national conference of 2024, being nominated by the federal government. I was the national president at that time in Abuja. I was also on the Judicial Commission of Inquiry that saw to the killings of over 100 security personnel in Nasarawa State.
She's a journalist by excellence. She has contributed tremendously to the growth and development of the PDP in Gombe South and the state in general. If you observe keenly, she has been the MC in terms of electioneering campaigns of the PDP zonal rallies.
After the screening, the lawmakers also passed the State's Local Government Council Appropriation Bill for 2019. These are the major events during the past week. Moving ahead, our focus this week is education. We will be speaking with the Commissioner for Higher Education in Gombe State, Dr. Issa Mohammed Wade, who will be our guide as we beam the spotlight on this critical sector. Thank you for joining me on this interview segment with one of the movers and shakers in Gombe. He is also regarded as one of the engine rooms of the Dankwambo administration in Gombe. That is the Commissioner for Higher Education in Gombe State, Dr. Issa Wade. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me on this interview.
Thank you, Mr. Larry.
Tertiary education in Gombe has been going in leaps and bounds. Gombe State University has started its medical program. Let's talk about this medical program. what was the vision behind starting the medical program, pharmacy medicine in Gombe State University?
Yeah, you know, the component of the health sector requires the structure, the facilities, and also the personnel. And where you have high quality personnel, then automatically you find that other things will follow. When His Excellency did a study of the situation, we find out that in the whole of the Northeast, as at then it's only University of Maiduguri, their own program in the medical sector. And therefore, to ensure that we have the required manpower to meet well with the thinking and the challenge we're facing, the vision we have for the health sector, that's need to produce high quality manpower. We are faced with two options. One, to say, okay, we take our young ones, send them outside the country, Ukraine, Russia, China, India, and go and do the training and come back and just assume work. Two is to look at the possibility of creating the faculties so that we have a permanent solution to the problem, and we'll be graduating the students within the context of our own environment so that we don't have environmental disconnect. Because by the time you take it to Ukraine, to India and whatever, you may have environmental disconnect, you may not even understand the requirements of. So the government opted for this option to now create the faculty, ensure that it's working, and then you have a permanent solution. So luckily enough, the governor becomes so committed to it, and at the end of the day, we have been able to be successful because one, we started the program, we got accreditation from the regulatory bodies, the National Advisory Commission, and the Medical and Dental Council. And it's not a small achievement to now start a medical college and the student graduating in that very institution. A lot of institutions in the country have to move their students to other institutions to graduate. The number of doctors will be graduating each year, for now, is 50, and then we have our 40 pharmacies. So you find that for our own internal requirement, by the time we graduate about 3 or 4 sets, we'll be a bit self-sufficient in that aspect. So it goes to the next stage of postgraduate program, specialization in various fields, which now the state will follow. Then we have people coming from other states too, to be part of the program, and then you find that all resource requirements have been met, and that's why we've been able to scale through the accreditation. So that shows the commitment of His Excellency, and it's not a mean achievement, it's not a small achievement to do that.
Students across tertiary institutions in Nigeria that are from Gombe are also put on bursary.
Yeah.
I know the issue of the bursary card. Can you just shed some light on this and the vision behind it?
Yeah, as part of all move to achieve the educational goal of excellency, Dr. Ibrahim Sandankwambo, we have various packages. One is to ensure that all those in public-owned universities are given the necessary support for the non-science and medical courses. They are given a bursary, and because of the nature of things, we have to introduce a bursary card, Talba bursary card, so as to ease the process of payment and to reduce abuses, and also to ensure transparency, because you can be able to track based on the card who collected the money and whatever. And at the same time, we are trying to kind of introduce a culture of saving and banking. Yeah. Unlike where you do direct payment or table payment, you find that you collect it now, you go and spend it. But now he's sure that the money is in his own account, and therefore he can sit down, think and reflect, and if he has any other amount, he can also put in that account. So that encourages banking culture. And where there is, with the level of insecurity, you find that the individual cannot be, when you have a raw cash on you, and they know that you have been paid, so people can go and attack somebody. So that has helped to ease the process. Then for the medical students, medical-related courses, those in public-owned universities, government have put them on monthly earning. First, you'll be on level 5, you'll be receiving salary. Then as you go to clinical, you go to level 7. By the time you go to residency, you move to level 10. By the time you graduate, then you place on level 12 and you do your service. So as to encourage them to study medical and medical-related courses to fill in the gaps. So this has also been paying. It has been very helpful because it encourages the students and reduces the burden on the students because of the nature of those courses. So for medicine, pharmacy, and other related medical nursing and other related courses. Even those doing veterinary medicine now are saying they should also be included in that, and we are working on that to see how we actually, because also the nature of their own program. Gombe received the lowest, almost the lowest, the least in the federation allocation, but one is for leadership to prioritize. It's on it. So as a leader, what is the critical, or what are the critical areas of need? Two, to also think of the future, because when you educate, now you are easing the problem of the future. Because if they become educated, even their lifestyle, the life activity becomes less problematic, because the way they live their life, health-wise, when you're educated, the kind of water you drink, where you stay, so that will reduce some of the environmental-related air and other waterborne diseases and the rest of them, which also reduce the consequence on the health sector. In addition to that, the experience of His Excellency. One, he has been an accountant general in the state, accountant general in the federation. He's a trained and chartered economist. He has a PhD in economics. He has been an accountant general, a PhD in accounting. He has been the accountant general of the federation. So you find out that in that aspect, if he's not been able to provide means to manage resources, then you find out there'll be a serious crisis. So these are the two issues. One, the priority and focus of the government, and two, the experience of His Excellency as a chartered accountant, in managing resources. So these two combine to help provide a sense of direction and also help in managing the little resources we have in the state.
Gombe is establishing another university, that's University of Science and Technology.
Yeah.
What's the vision behind this? Then how far have you gone in setting up the structures, the administrative structure and the physical structure on ground?
If you look at, you have to plan for the future, you have to educate the youth. If you don't educate them, then there's nowhere you can move. Based on various committees we set up, and the report has been put that, there's need to focus on science and technology. And the best way is to set up a university to handle that aspect. And given the fact that year in, year out, the issue of access to education becomes a problem. More than 1 million road jam, the carrying capacity of all the institutions, higher institutions in Nigeria, federal government owned, state owned, private, colleges, polytechnics and universities is less than, or it's just about 900,000. So about 700 to 800 students annually will not have admission. And so you have to provide for this youth. If not, you are building a time bomb. Because by the time they lose interest, you feel that they have been applying, they have been doing their best, buying JAMB form, writing the exam, they have passed their NECO, passed WAEC, NAPTED and the rest of them, and they have no place. So you find that they become disenchanted. When you build these institutions, then you provide them with the opportunity to read and become more organized. Then you find that you reduce a lot of problems. By the time you science and technology, you find that you hope that by the time they graduate, they'll be self-sustaining. And through that, you'll be able to reduce a lot of problems and also attract industries. So that has been the thinking, and that's what informs the setting of this institution. So far, so good. The institution, they are tidying up the last part of the whole thing. We hope that the management have gone to Abuja to meet with JAMB to tidy up the issue of admission. The contractors are on site now, trying to put finishing touches to some of the things there. So we have to work on the ground and tidy up. I know the major thing is for people to harangue. They say, today we are doing matriculation. Yes. But it involves a lot of things.
Apart from Gombe State University and the University of Science and Technology that's coming up now, there's several other institutions of higher learning. Give us a brief of these institutions and the vision behind them and what you want to achieve with each of them.
We have College of Nursing, which is to train middle-level manpower for the health sector, nursing profession as we know. Then we also have the College of Health Sciences and Technology in Kaltungo. That also deals with training of medical laboratory scientists, community health workers, environmental health workers, medical records. These are all components of the healthcare delivery system, and that is a very critical sector. And they run from certificate program up to HND program. They go for NYSC and the rest of it, which we have been able to do a lot of reforms in that sector, a lot of improvement in their structures and facilities. We also have the College for Education, and the College Education is situated in Biliri. That college is to run conventional courses because we have a Federal College of Education, technical, which is biased towards technical aspect, but you need people to read religious studies, you need people to read English, people that will read mass comm, media and the rest of it, and you need teachers right from the primary school to teach them literature and other things. So the convention, the college education has to do that.
Can you just tell us some of the achievements and some of the progress has been made in basic education before we now get into some other things in higher education?
Yeah, it's because of these challenges and the achievements recorded in the basic and secondary education that throws up challenges for us in the higher education. Because before then, we cannot even meet up with our quota in most of the institutions within and outside the state, federal government on. So, but now we have an exploit. Okay, we have more than what we can be able to handle, and that's why we need to expand. We have to think outside the box to see how we can be able to accommodate this increasing challenge, even though we have not reached the desire. At the basic education level, Gombe State government has been able to meet up with the requirement of the universal basic education in terms of assessing the fund, because some states now, they are behind, they could not even assess the fund. We go for the National Council of Education, there has been a current issue. Some states are still lagging. Some, even 2014 fund, they could not assess to improve on their infrastructure. But for Gombe, we are up to date in assessing the Universal Basic Education Fund, which has helped tremendously in expanding basic education. You can see the model schools being all over the state, which has helped to transport and make learning more interesting for the pupils. Okay, because they see new structure, new facilities, new learning equipment and infrastructure, so that attracts them to the school. You find, like, if you take the Hassan Central, you have Kumo Central, you take Bajoga model in Talase, all over the state. So you see the kind of structures, you see the kind of facilities there that has helped. For some of them, now they can accommodate those one inside Gombe town. They can have more than 20,000 pupils in the school. So because of the expansion and redesigning of these schools, they have helped to make such learning process more attractive. And we have been able to reduce the student per class ratio to about 40 per class. So that has helped to ease learning and make it more interesting. Then at the secondary education level, we find also various reform. Various secondary schools have been established, new ones. We have a situation whereby we have empty secondary schools now. We have a proper ratio, and we also have standby secondary schools, so to say. Okay? Because they have been established with the hope that population will grow to meet them, so that we're planning ahead. So with this reform, the teachers become committed, all their salaries have been paid. Government is paying salaries as at when due, there's no delay in salaries, so there is increasing commitment. And there's that reorientation, that this is the best legacy the state can give to its younger population. So the teachers are imbibed that, to see that, yeah, they make their own contribution to ensure that they prepare the younger generations, where when they retire, these people will take over, and they can go outside the state to represent the state and take over activities that is meant for the state. Instead of a situation whereby you have opportunities and there are no people to fill up such opportunities. So that new focus, new sense of direction, they have imbibed and they become committed. So that has made for improvement in the performance level. So you find the number of people trying to go into higher institutions have increased. So even though we have not reached to say, okay, we are number one in WAEC exams, or number 2 or number 3, but we have moved tremendously. The performance has increased, and therefore, and then you find the number of people trying to get into universities increasing. Because if you go to Gombe State University, you go to Federal University Kashere, you go to those going to Zaria, Meduguri, and all these institutions, and you see people trying to, all the new institutions we have created, you see the number of applicants, and they have all the requirements of at least 5 credits, including English and Maths. So that symbolizes that there's a
So it's about progress.
There's a progress. Yeah. So even this new University of Science and Technology, there has been a lot of pressure on students that want to gain admission.
As Gombe State government continues to invest in the education sector to give it its pride of place, the words of the famous African-American civil rights activist Malcolm X comes to mind. He said, "Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today." That's the much we can bring you on this episode of Inside the Drill. Thank you for sharing your time with us. You can also be part of the program through our social media handles. So we'll bring you another episode next time. My name is Lanre Adeyemi. Goodbye.